So the new patch is dropped onto the live servers, and to be quite honest, it feels pretty fun. And today's video is going to be slightly different from what we normally do. So at the beginning of stream earlier today, I actually took the time to study the patch notes and try to put together what I think was going to be like my own little meta read or meta analysis for the first like 24 hours of the patch. And I wanted to share this process with you guys because I think it's one of those things where if you can really learn just how to sit down for the first like 20-30 minutes and just learn like what is good in a patch, you can actually get away with scamming a lot of free LP because your meta read is just better than a lot of others. So in today's video, I just wanted to showcase that snippet, and at the very end, I'll also go over a quick tier list of what I actually think is meta after my first 24 hours of both playing on the patch, but also from watching other streamers play. Let's get on to today's video. So Cypher vertical stats got buffed. I saw Zeta Kess played Vi Hero into vertical Cypher. Might be slightly more playable. This was like 4 Vanguard, 5 Cypher. Line requires Z2, Vi 2, Draven 2, 3 stars if possible, but unlikely. I'm changing next patch. It's next patch. It is next patch. This patch is just a lot of stuff that got shifted around. It's actually quite a big patch. There's a lot of stuff that moved. So Gox 4 and 6 got buffed. Divinicore vertical, so 5, 6, 7 got buffed. Nitro reroll got buffed. So if you hit the 3 stars, hit the 3 stars early, more nitro, more chrome. Someone mentioned, dude, I did a patch rundown, and it turns out that isn't this a little confusing though? Right here, where is it? It says nitro chrome 23612. I thought this was like I just completely misinterpreted this shit. I genuinely thought this was like something else. So it turns out this is based off the star level of the unit, is how much chrome you get. I don't know what I interpreted initially, but yeah. I just hope that the Shiv artifact is somewhat close to Radiant Shiv in power. It probably will be. I trust them to figure it out, like, generally. Usually they're a lot better with item balance than they are with, like, unit balance. Okay, no, I take that back. That's not entirely true. But usually when they miss on item changes, they're quicker to revert item changes than they are to revert, like, champion changes, I think. That seems very vibey. Like I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Also, Nitro vertical buffed as well. Techie, I don't think so. Vertical got buffed. Surprised if it does anything. I actually don't think this does much. Hey, Vanguard 6 got buffed. This might do something, I'm not sure. Cog, slight buff. Alawi, slight buff. I mean, I don't think these are really important. Shyvana, slight buff. Skarner, slight buff. Elise. Or so TF got nerfed. I think it's a power card actually got nerfed a lot, so this is huge, right? Then Elise casts slightly faster. This is a pretty substantial buff, actually. So that could be pretty good. Brand nerfed. So casts slower, but no, what was it again? Ability now always arrives after 0.75. So it's like buff to... I think someone mentioned buff to Sniper's Focus brand. But overall nerf. And then Nico nerfed. Cast takes a bit longer. And then Vex... Or sorry. Vex was spell damage nerf. Zeri attack speed. So attack speed buff. MF got more AD. And then Renekton was like a lot of changes, right? I mean, I'm just gonna write Renekton like big buff. This does look like a really big Renekton buff. Okay. And I don't really want to go through the augments just now. I don't think like okay, like augment wise. Size Hero potentially clickable. And then Jax Hero potentially clickable. I'm just writing potentially because I don't actually know, but we'll see. I think Silas in particular, like 6 Vanguard with buffs might be playable. But it's supposed to be a tempo comp. 7 Anima could work, maybe. 6 Bastion. 3 Exo. Divinity Zed might be good now. Yeah, that was my read as well. That was like my initial impression. They didn't actually nerf any traits, did they? Oh no, they did at the very end. 7 Anima buff. 7 Anima MR armor. 4 MP is more stable, I think. This is weird. This seems like a shift. I don't really know. It's kind of like in the middle. It seems like a very like minute change, but slightly more stable on 4. 6 Bastion buff. Four Dynamo. Flux buff. 4 Marksman buff. This 4 Marksman buff is really suspect. 4 Rapid Fire buff. 7 Street nerf. Feels like a Vex attack into Divinicore Vex should feel good. I think just like, I mean, generally speaking, I think you just angle Divinicore Vex now. Or Divinicore Zed. It's kind of what I kind of overall view it. But okay, so this is the patch in a nutshell, yeah? Like very, very simply put. So, initial impressions would be 1, Divinicore vertical looks significantly more appealing. I think Zed was very underrated last patch. So I think this actually like pushes Divinicore Zed to be like S tier. That's at least how I see it. But like you don't even itemize the Vex, I think. I think it's like you itemize I think it's itemized Senna 2 and Zed. And then Vex can take items if necessary. Or I guess can take EP items. But Senna items become Renekton items. That's how I view this line. I was testing it on the last patch last night just to see how it felt compared to everything else. And like honestly speaking, it still felt really good. Not really good, but it still felt good enough that you could play this without feeling too bad about it. And I think if you can get to Renekton, like it's actually super solid. More can take Vex items if you get dropped Vex items. Yeah, that's also true. But I think the line itself is like super flex and it's really easy to play around. I really like Divinicore. So that was the first thing that came up. MF Zeri seems a bit more playable. Maybe not S tier, but high A tier. Street Demon seems gutted. Vexotech seems fine, but why Vexotech over Divinicore is kind of like my impression. But like if 5 Exo is good, Vexotech is still good. But I think if you're gonna be contested for Vex anyways, like I don't know, like maybe you get drop Vex items really early on, they can just play around it. But I guess you can just kind of flex between the two. Like if you find a Sedge 2 instead of like a Z2, then you can play Vexotech instead. You kind of have to like be a bit flexible with the roll down. NHS is bad. I think, well, actually, I think just Vagar is bad now. I don't even think that this is good anymore. It was already not great, but now NHS nerf plus Manazane nerfs equals not a thing. I don't even think I would click on this unit anymore. I mean, I didn't click on it anyways, but especially now. What else? What else? What else? TF slightly worse. Well, actually, I think TF is just worse. Not sure how far down it puts him. I think Elise is good. Hard to cap out with, because it's usually Braum 3. So if TF player, you're kind of fucked. I think 6 Ox is probably good again. Needs +1 on Golem. Or dummy. How did Nefiri get nerfed? 10% less alpha 80 damage. It's actually a lot though, isn't it? Because every stack of amp gives an alpha on the spell cast, right? I think. So... Oh, but the thing is though, I wonder if Nidalee, or if like Nitro, if Nitro, what's it called? Nitro Nefiri is good. This is the Nidalee Nefiri dual carry. Cause I don't, is the meta? I guess it's dependent. The build also changes. Build changes based on meta. If still high single target. It's like Eon, Hodge, Pulse. If more spread out, Titans. I think it's Titans BT. +1. I think it was like this. Oh, Nitro Nefiri Bronze for life. Yeah, they did get buffed. And also, no pivot, no scout. I want to try Nitro reroll as well. It looks a lot more promising now. So I'm curious to see. What else? What else? What else? Is there anything else that was like... that got tossed in the mix that might be sleeper? Oh, I think 4 Vanguard, 4 Marksman is very good. This is probably S tier. Insanely good with Marksman +1. I wanted to have it spot in the meta. It's still good. Like, it's still clickable. Like, it was always clickable, but I think they just made it a little more clickable now, yeah. Okay. What else about the last patch? It was Vexotech brand TF. 7 Anima, which was still... I mean, 7 Anima got buffed. So, 7 Anima, probably better with tempo. Slightly more stable. Still very augment reliant on strong starts. But maybe you don't need... I mean, no, because when you think about unit... Like, none of the unit quality has really changed, has it? Especially for 1 costs. So like 7 Anima, right? Like you want a tempo with the line, but like unit quality, 1 cost unit quality has not changed. So this means that right now, stage 1 probably is the same as last patch. Cog is just slightly more clickable. Which means, like, your S tier is gonna be like Morg, Alistar, Vi2, and then you're probably looking at like everything else, really. I wonder if like Zyro and Mundo are even that good anymore. I don't particularly like the Zyro unit very much as like a item holder early. Seraphine feels like slightly better. There's Cog Kindred. I think Kindred's pretty good actually. Kindred's probably like a lot better now this patch because of the priority with the comps. Kindred, Jax, and then it's just like etc. Zyra. I would put Seraphine up here too. She's probably like still fine. Nidalee? I mean, I don't... Maybe you click on her slightly more because of Nitro changes. Nidalee is more like a dependent on the meta type of one cost, I think. At least that's how I see it. This doesn't encompass all of them, but this is like the general idea. It looks like... Yeah, I mean, I still think Poppy's D tier is like probably at the bottom. Shaco's probably up here too. Shaco can hold Z items, which is really nice. So he's probably higher. I mean, this is in no particular order, by the way. Or I should write like one cost tier list, and then each one is like, this is S, A, B, C, D. Yeah. Nidalee I would probably put here. It could change though. I mean, she's strong early game though, but sometimes she just gets focused out. You're on the wrong side. It's very position oriented. I don't think I have Mundo in here. I mean, the Bruiser start is still strong. Hog, Morg, Seraphine, Poppy, Shaco, Silas. Silas is probably like B tier maybe. B tier, C tier. He's like high C tier. I mean, again, this isn't in any. It's kind of in an order, but it's not really in an order. It's kind of just how my brain works. Probably something like this. So because the tier is still the same, Morgana, Alistar, Vi, like I feel like you're still playing priority. So I think like comps to lean, it's probably gonna be like Vexotech or Vexo Divinicore Z. 4 Vanguard, 4 Marksman. Is there an AP line that's good right now? I mean, it's possible 7th Street is still playable. It's just like, it's just worse than it was. But it feels very AD. I'm missing something here. And then it probably feels like MF Zeri. 7th Street. Jesus, excuse me. Are there any good AP lines outside of Vex? Thank you. Because it doesn't really look like it. They nerfed 7th Street. Amp strategy can fast. Not really. It's so item specific too. Let me look at the top comps thing. What's going on here? Okay, we should probably do Diamond Plus. I mean, the sample size is way higher. Amp Annie and Nico. I mean, this seems to be like a... Isn't this like Fast 9? Or Fast Level 8? Amp Annie and Nico. I mean, 4 is more stable now. But is this like... Let me see. Zero items is a 4.2. Interesting. What up, Omarice? Actually, no, you might be right. Amp strategy in Fast 9. I think you are right. This looks like you need a reroll, but you can push 8. Oh, yeah, you're right, you're right. Because... Well, it says 3 out of Yumi. Oh, but yeah, if you're 2-star Yumi, you're averaging a 4.7. So you actually need 3-star Yumi. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, I could probably isolate some other stats, but overall, if 2-star Yumi is bad, that means like you're playing like. Actually, no, I should isolate some of the stats. But generally speaking, if it's Yumi 2, like Yumi 2 and Fury 2 is a 4.73. But if you get the Annie 2 plus like Samira 1. No, it has to be 2. Like 4.32 is not bad if you get the Annie 2, but that's including Samira's stats. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, vertical amp without rerolling feels bad, it seems. I mean, it looks like TF is still consistent, though. Slayer, Shaco. Oh, Shaco. Huh. I guess Shaco's stocks are up. It looks like TF is in here as well. Everything else got nerfed around it, so actually I can see this. Exotech, Vex, and Varus is still up here. That's fine. That makes sense. Street Team in 52.9, that's fine. I mean, these seem way more online. Bruiser, Fiddlesticks. Is this even... Oh, actually. Huh. Even without Artifact? Oh, but 6 Bruiser, 2 Boombots, so 4.46. I mean, still, it's relatively not bad. I mean, it's this specific build, though. Can you exclude Artifact? Or do I just type all of them? Snipers, Blighting, Talisman, Anima. Innervating. Bruiser Emblem. I mean, I guess even if you didn't have Bruiser Emblem, like... Oh, okay. It's like a top 3 without artifacts or emblems. I mean, I'm a little surprised that it's this good. Usually, like, this line is not even playable without artifact, but like without artifact, it actually seems kind of okay. I don't even think Bruiser Emblem is like that good. Like, I want to take a gold augment for it. Let me also filter for Kabuko 1. Oh, it's still solid. Meta seems sort of stall heavy. Interesting. I'll put it in like A tier. That's actually really surprising, but that makes a lot of sense. Divinicore, Vex, and Cho'Gath. I don't think this is very good. I think people are really anti-Zed for some reason. Zed and Senna, like, I don't think this is right either. Like, you shouldn't be ending on Zed and Senna. Like, I think realistically, like, stage 4 Zed feels really good. 4.45. Why are we building GA on Zed, guys? Come on. Yeah, I mean, this seems fine to me. 4.2, 4.24. 4 Slayer is the mainline 4.4. So it's very in the middle of the pack. But 5 Divinicore is a plus 0.4. Wait, why is... It's not bad yet, but it's not amazing. There are definitely better items. Wait, why? What is 5 Divinicore? Oh, 5 is you couldn't get to 9? I see. That makes a lot of sense. So then I don't mind this being a thing. This is okay. 4.4. 5 is probably they missed. Yeah. They missed the crocodile. 6 Slayer also has not bad stats. It's kind of hard to get there. But it looks like you don't want to drop down out of Divinicore either. Generally speaking. Well, 4.3 is 4.29. I mean, this line probably does not look like amazing. It's probably fine. I think the thing is that it just caps low. Because you have to, like, switch out a lot of the Divinicore units with, like, really, like, high quality, like, 2-star 5 costs. Like, you're usually switching out, like, like, you're usually swapping things in, like, Urgot, Cho2. Oh, no, it's not. No. It's usually, like, Zaktu, Garen. Yeah. Zaktu, Garen, Kobuko. Like, it counts out high, but, like, you usually end up just dropping... You slowly drop out of all the Divinicore units. So... I feel like the stats are slightly fake on this. Because you always end up at a weird spot. General Fighter 6 is big now. How big is it again? I know we talked about it earlier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 160 to 180, and now it becomes 165 to 190. It's actually less of a jump than it used to be. But still a big buff. Wait, what? Can I math? 25? Oh, no. My fault. No, it's a bigger jump than before. Okay. That is a huge bump, actually. Wow. Okay, cool. I mean, I think this line's very playable. I don't know if you can, like, angle it every time, but it's definitely good. But you're going to be contested for Vexes. So I do think it's, like, Senna. It's Senna Zed, really. And then AP items on Vex eventually. Dynamo, Misfortune. Oh, wow. Yeah, I forgot about the board. Yona, Braum, Darius, Misfortune. I mean, it looks really good, actually. For Vanguard. I wonder if this is the new line. But what if you're stuck on 3 Dynamo because you can't get to Aurora? Okay, that's pretty bad. I mean, you do need to get to Aurora. Usually it's like Misfortune Zaya, right? That was the board? Wow, this is a throwback. This actually looks pretty solid. But it also says, like, if you can't get to Aurora too, it looks like the stats, like, don't support it. I think this was the board. Zaya. There's Braum, and then I think it was like this. This is the board, right? And you play Morgana on 9. Oh, it's Morgana over Aurora, but... Or it's Aurora over Morgana on 8. But... It does seem like it's a bit of an Aurora check. And even if you hit Aurora 1, it does not look very good. So I don't know if it's actually that good. Aurora 1's a 4.58. Doesn't that mean, like, it's actually not that good? Like, it just means that you never got to... I don't know. It's kind of hard to exclude Aurora. Actually, if you don't get to Aurora, it's fine. 4.17? That's super solid. So you just play Morgana instead of Aurora? I guess on 8. I guess you can't... I mean, I don't know. 4 Vanguard? Is this not 4 Vanguard? Oh. Oh, wow. Wait, so how do you even get to 4 Vanguard with this line, though? How does that even make sense? Oh, wait. Oh, this is splitting 2 lines. It's splitting Vanguard MF, and it's splitting, No, because the 4 Vanguard is 4 Vanguard, 4 Marksman, but you have Dynamo, you have Marksman Emblem. Hold on, let me exclude Marksman Emblem. That makes way more sense. Okay, yeah, this Leona comp is not very good. Or this MF Leona line. That makes so much more sense. I mean, it looks fine. It's not like bad. 4.23. This is kind of the expected, right? But also 3 Syndicate. 1, 2, 3. 2 Marksman, 3 Enigma. Yeah. What if you exclude Aurora, though? You don't get to Aurora. Okay, that's pretty bad. I mean, that's assuming that you completely missed, though. What if you're Aurora 1? Yeah, okay, no, this line doesn't have any legs. You don't play Syndicate? Well, that's a 4 Vanguard, 4 Marksman line. That's what this is. That's what the 4 Vanguard is. I think Marksman Crown is insta-click. I don't know if... Yeah, I mean, no, I don't know if it's insta-click, but it's really good now. For sure. Like, I don't know if I would click it 2-1. But, I mean, if I had a strong start for it, I don't see why not. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this line does not have legs. What else is there? Okay, so what's the deal with MF Zeri? That's my question. It's usually MF Zeri's 3 Syndicate, yeah. It's always 3 Syndicate. 3 Exotech. Or is it 5 Exotech? I don't actually know this line very well. I just know that you need Flux. MF, and then it's like TF Darius. Darius, TF. And then it's like Jax. Those are not Jaxes. Oh, it's 5. Jin Mord. Ah, yes, thank you. M. Mordekaiser, here you go. This is the board. So then, 5 Exotech, 4.37. I mean, it's solid. I mean, yeah, it looks like there's a lot of playable lines. But it doesn't look very AP oriented, though. Like, I just want to know, like, if you're given AP, like, what can you play? Besides Vex. But, I mean, it says Street Demon's still fine, though. You probably just don't, like, hard force it anymore, though. Have you looked at 6A Techie? I haven't. I can look at it real quick. I mean, this still seems very playable. I guess you can just kind of play into whatever. Just commit early. 6 Techie. I'm going to exclude 4 Cyber Boss. Because this is Vanguard specific. And it's usually augment oriented. Yeah. I mean, 8 Techie seems okay. Even then, though, I don't know. .42. Exclude Seraphine Zerathri? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really expecting much for this line. Seems okay. But a bit tonight of Amp Strat still look decent. What's the stats on it looking like? It's looking okay. It looks like you still reroll the Fury and Yumi. But that's fine. I think it's probably playable. Like, reroll Amp is probably playable. But, like, I think this is Pulse only. Personally speaking. I don't know if I would play it if I didn't have Pulse on 2-1. Oh, how's LeBlanc reroll now? I kind of wanted to see how this comp was doing. And then it's like LeBlanc 3, and then it's like Alawi, Nico. Oh, sorry, not Nico. Echo. Not very good. Still mana's in check? Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, that's not looking good. Alright. Not gonna even bother with that line then. Manazane also got nerfed, so the line is worse. Yeah, mana's in check. Okay. I mean, that feels like that's a lot of info. I feel like I could probably play this patch and be okay. She started running games. So Divinicore Z, 4 Vanguard, 4 Marksman. So to me, it just feels like a very AD line or AD meta. So like overall initial take. AD meta, Ramble good. I feel like I'm biased, but I'm gonna lean Divinicore Z. But MF0 is also good. And 4v4M is also good. IE Slam is true bis. Probably avoid AP. Unless strong start. Okay, so I hope that was helpful, and as you can see on screen right now, this is my own little read of the current patch, and at the time of filming this, it's been about 16 to 18 hours since the patch has dropped, so a lot of stuff is still shifting around, so I highly encourage you to go into your own games and try things out. I'll quickly go over every unit in here, and each unit represents its composition, but I'll briefly talk about them, and in our meta-analysis 2 to 3 days from now, where we have a much better understanding of the patch, I think that's when we can really sit down, solidify, and talk about different lines and what are the conditions for everything going on right now. But let's talk real quick. So S tier, I have Urgot here representing 6 Boombot Urgot. This is the highest cap in the game, I think, at the moment. Super strong, super high cap, but very hard to get to. So even though it is S tier and probably the strongest line, just power-wise, it's like easily the hardest to get to. Next one, I have Xayah in here as well, representing 4 Vanguard, 4 Marksman. I think we talked about this in the predictions as well and in the rundown. Still seemed like a really good comp going into the patch, and right now it does seem to be doing very well. So that is something to keep in mind, and the +1 for Marksman seems to be really good because you get to fit in a tertiary carry with Misfortune. But with less items in the game overall, it is a bit harder to pilot sometimes. You do need something to boost your item economy, it seems, if you want to play this line. Misfortune. I have Misfortune in here, but I don't really know what the correct board or the best board for Misfortune is currently. There's so many different ways that you can play her and flex her, so I just have Misfortune in here as just a general carry, but she feels very, very good as long as you have 3 Syndicate built in. There's stuff like 4 Vanguard with 4 Dynamo. I've seen 2 Vanguard with like a Xayah dual carry. I've seen Misfortune with Zeri, etc. There's a lot of different ways you can play the line. So I think Misfortune just flexing around overall feels really good. And I think this Elise 2 unit feels really solid to just stabilize you, especially during stage 4 during the mid game. So just something to keep in mind. Samira I have here as well. Again, it's a super high cap, but it's really hard to get to the cap because Samira is going to be within AMP vertical. And if you can cap out with Samira 2, it's super strong, but to get there is really, really hard. So I have it in here, but I don't think it's necessarily like amazing by any means. It's definitely like super strong, but it's very inconsistent. So that's the only part that I have a little qualm with putting it in the S tier, but power wise it's definitely up there. Next one I have in the A tier is going to be Vex. I think a lot of hype was surrounding around Divinicore and Divinicore Vertical, but from what I can tell so far from the stats, and maybe I'm going to have to double check them because there's a larger sample at this point, but generally speaking, it looks like if you missed a Crocodile on 9, Vertical Vex, or Vertical Divinicore, excuse me, just doesn't seem nearly as good or reliable as Exotech. So I think Vexotech is still going to be the main line for Vex, and it still feels pretty solid overall. I just think that it's just a line that it's good, but don't be surprised if it loses to some pretty capped out boards. So that's just something to keep in mind. But again, Vex can also cap out super high, so it can definitely compete at the level 9 stage. But level 8 can sometimes feel a little bit shaky depending on the way that you're situated. And again, it's just a very 5 Exotech check. You should be checking your Exotech items at the beginning of every game. Next one, Zeri. Zeri is specifically within Zeri Misfortune. I know I have MF in the S tier, but MF just flexing as a singular unit is just super good. Zeri is also still super solid, and I think Zeri is great. But I think as a singular carry, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I haven't seen anybody really experiment yet with like 6 Bastion Zeri or 6 Vanguard Zeri or like It's probably Sebastian Zeri. I know Sebastian got buffed, but there's probably like some variation of Zeri that exists somewhere that we haven't really truly unlocked yet that feels really good. I just have yet to see it. But the Misfortune Zeri line seems to be the most common right now. I think that's what was on everybody's radar. So far, I've seen it perform very well and definitely top 4 decent amount of lobbies. So definitely something to keep in mind. Fiddlesticks as well is kind of interesting. So because everything surrounding Fiddlesticks got nerfed, Fiddlesticks is starting to shine a bit more. And from what I can tell so far, it doesn't seem to be as much of an artifact check as it used to be. Nowadays, it actually seems like you can play Fiddlesticks without an artifact. And maybe potentially even without a Bruiser emblem. So don't quote me on that just yet. But so far, I've been seeing definitely some Fiddlesticks boards win out lobbies even without artifacts, which I thought was really surprising. So that's just something to keep in mind. I think a lot of the fights, I think someone had mentioned this really well, but earlier today when I was streaming, someone had mentioned the meta feels like it's very stall-outy, and Fiddlesticks really thrives in that kind of environment. So I think that's really cool. So that's just something to keep in mind. Next one is Yuumi representing AMP reroll. I really do think the backbone of this composition is going to be Yuumi 3, but obviously you do want the Neferi 3 if you can get there as well. But you can either do Yuumi 3 and cap out with like some like Annie 2 plus like Samira or some whatever bullshit. But you want to make sure that if you're playing AMP reroll or AMP in general, that you are rerolling some unit. I think, again, like if you're trying to get to like the Samira 2 Fast 9, like really hard to pilot, really hard to cap out, and it's very inconsistent. So I think Yuumi is way more consistent of a line, but it caps out higher, but it's a lot harder to, like, you don't really think about Samira when you think of the line, so that's why it's represented in that way. The next one is going to be Leona representing 7 Anima. I still think 7 Anima is like a good tempo line, but it's not something that you can play too often. Again, it still feels a bit more augment reliant and a bit of an augment check, but I don't think it's like gated behind like support Spire by any means. Like if you have a Silas 2, Seraphine 2, you should definitely like consider playing Anima. And like you can probably try to find like decent augments for the line later on. So also specifically encounters and portals where you have an extra augment, I think this line actually thrives a bit more in those kind of environments. So that's just something to keep in mind. Next one is Aphelios representing Gox or 6 Golden Ox. I think 6 Golden Ox is definitely playable and can cap out super high and has probably the highest cap because you end up getting like 3-star Aphelios and shit like this. But I do think that you need a +1 from a Golem or a Dummy. I don't think the buffs were necessarily enough to push him over the edge, but it's good enough that like with the +1 you can definitely feel a lot more comfortable playing the line. But it's gonna be a little precarious to say the least. So I have it in low A, but it could be even lower than this. I'm not entirely sure just yet where to place it. Next one I have Elise representing Elise, specifically Elise 3. I know there's an Elise 3 Braum 3 line that exists, and I think that this was like a PvE board, but it's been like there's some slow resurgence to it. I think it's a board that you cap out on level 8 though. Like you have to go 8 first and then roll for everything, because ideally you want an MF2 on your board alongside it. But it's a very niche board. I don't think it's a board that you play too often, but when you have it, it can do really, really well. And power-wise, it's probably a lot higher than low A. I just think that the conditions for it are a bit tough to get to just because there's a lot of Nitro hype right now. Because I think a lot of players are playing Nitro, seeing all the Nitro buffs for reroll. So that's just something to keep in mind. Shaco in the B tier starting off, I think is still solid actually. I do think he is a little artifact reliant-y. And I think that if you don't have an artifact for Shaco, I think the line feels a little bit worse. But there are going to be times where you can play Shaco and still like clutch out pretty well. So I think B is perfectly acceptable. Niche conditions, but it's okay. Zed. I think Zed is something that I think a lot of people were hyped about, seeing all the Divinicore buffs, but so far the stats don't really like to support 4 Slayer for Divinicore. Maybe there's a different way to play around it. Maybe it's 6 Slayer instead, or just playing Slayers in general. But generally speaking, I feel like the Zed unit is okay. It can definitely win out a lot of fights and it's super strong in the mid game, but it caps out really low. So I think it's good, and I think you can definitely angle for it sometimes, especially if you see like you have an IE slam and you see like there's MFs and marksman players and like they have a lot more economy than you do, and you're like, oh shit, what do I do? I think in a situation like that, you could actually play Zed, like go for a 4-2 roll down instead, roll a little bit later, and then just pick up your 2-star 4 costs very easily because so many 4 costs are taken out of the pool, and you can have a good time. So I think Zed is definitely playable from the right spots, but you can't really lose streak into it by any means. I definitely view it a little more tempo-y compared to other lines. So I have a B right now, could be higher, but so far that's kind of where I see it. Next one is going to be Brand with Street Demon. Vertical Street Demon is still solid, to be completely honest. I think low B, this is actually kind of mean. I'm going to put it like low A. I think in terms of an AP line, it's definitely not like shining as much as like Vex, but I still think that this line is super solid if you have like a strong like Street Demon start and you can lean into it. Like if you have like a Zyra 2 Mundo start, like this is, or like, you know, a Mundo 2 Zyra 1 start or whatever, like you can definitely lean into Brand, and I don't think that's bad by any means, and I think it's a line that you kind of want to tempo into a little bit more compared to before. I've seen some discussion about like 5 Street Demon coming back as like a potential way to play around Brand instead, and I'm interested to see if that ends up becoming a thing. I believe the board was like 5 Street with like 4 Techie with like Mordekaiser and etc. I don't remember though, it's been a long time, so interested to see how Brand plays out, but it might not be 7 Street anymore, who knows. But moving on to the next one is gonna be Kog'Maw. I think I've heard whispers of Kog'Maw reroll being good. It's like a 6, I don't know if it's 6 Boombot or 4 Boombot, but I think it's 4 Boombot, 4 Vanguard. Try it out. I think it's a category 5 line for sure, and you need a Ginsu start and a strong Kog'Maw start. But it's definitely a line I think that is a little more appealing now, and I actually think I would be a little more inclined to play it than other reroll lines, but I also have yet to have the chance to play it myself, so I don't really want to say too much before I can really give my seal of approval. So that's on the back burner, but I think so far some people have reported success, so we'll see. The next one's gonna be Kindred representing Nitro reroll, so specifically rolling on 5 for like that Kindred and Nidalee 3 and then working from there. I think the line is actually solid. I think I've seen some people play the line really poorly though, and I think that's kind of the thing that I've seen people struggling with. I think I'm going to talk about this one a little more in depth, only because I think people are not playing the line correctly, and it's such a popular line that I don't want people to dismiss it, despite the fact that I think from a lot of good spots you could play it. So starting off, you don't want to play this from no Nitro opener. I think if you don't have a Nitro opener, I actually played this earlier today without a Nitro opener, and I played into it once I had the T-Hex on like stage 3-1. And believe it or not, the TX stacks super fucking fast, so it's actually like really surprising. But the line in general, I think I see a lot of people still trying to do this like Jhin, Nefiri, like Jack stuff, and I think this is really poor. I don't think this is something that you really want to be angling towards, especially Jhin 3. I think this unit is fucking dog shit. I think the way that you're actually supposed to angle this line, generally speaking, is you actually don't even play around the Nefiri, and obviously you should play what you hit though. There are different variations of Nitro. It's a very flexible line, but generally speaking, what I think is the best way to cap out with this board is going to be Kindred 3, Elise 3. And if you find the Nidalee 3, she's a really good TG holder and can actually tempo you pretty well in the early game if you happen to find a super early TG from, like, you know, the silver augment that gives you one. This is probably like Kindred 3 is probably like the way you tempo throughout the early to mid game, and then I think late game you want to cap out with Elise 3 because your level 8 board fits very nicely with 4 Bastion, which I believe is going to look something like this, and I believe it is Renekton. Yeah, and then +1. So I mean, you do have the Jhin on the board, but I don't think this actually does anything. So like this is probably like a way to cap out, and honestly, like I think this is probably like the way you're gonna cap out. You need the marksman for Kindred. So like I think Jhin goes on the board, but I don't think like you play this line with the intention of trying to 3-star Jhin and play around Jhin 3 carry. I don't think this Jhin 3 unit is very good. It's very unreliable to say the least. So I think this is probably going to be your better bet. I think Elise 3 is probably going to be the cap out here, and this is also kind of the reason why I said earlier, like, I think Elise 3 is, like, a strong line, but if there's a Nitro player, which there probably will be, I think this line is a lot less playable. It's very tier dependent as well and item hungry, right? Because you want tank items for, like, your Shyvana 3 as well, because you want to 3-star her as well, so you want things like the Crown Guard, you want things like your Adaptive, right? You ideally need to roll on 5 for like Nidalee and Kindred, but then you also need to go to 6 and try to find ways to find the Shyvana as well. If you find like a bunch of Kindreds, no Nidalees, you can just go 6 and then just start rolling for the Shyvana and the Nidalees. But it does feel a little bit bad that you're not like rolling for like other stuff as well. So I myself don't think I have it like fully locked down, but I do think that this line, generally speaking, has a lot of potential to actually do well. I just think people are prioritizing the wrong units. This is sort of my first, like, 17-hour take on it. But generally speaking, I think this is kind of like the way you want to be itemizing towards the line. Again, super tier dependent, because any extra tiers can actually just become Sejuani items super late down the line. So this is kind of like the way you want to cap out with it. But again, this board feels a little low on the damage side of things, but from my experience playing it, I played with a super late Nitro start. So realistically speaking, I think if you have Nitro on 2-1, this is a much more like potentially angleable line. So again, we'll talk more about it in the future on like a future meta analysis, but I just want to throw it out there. Next one is going to be TF. I think TF is a shell of his former self. Still top 4able, still playable from the right spots, but you need a really, really good spot now. I don't think he's like artifact gated by any means, but I think like unless you have like a super, super high tempo, good TF start, and like Ginsu slams and all that jazz, like it's definitely not nearly as forceful as it used to be. Vayne I have here as well, only because I've seen people play it. I'm not sure how I feel about it just yet. I haven't looked too deep into the stats about it, but I think it's like, it should be on your radar at the very least as like a potential line that you could maybe play. But I think there's so many better forecast lines in general that this hasn't really come up on my radar at all, but maybe it's something you can consider. Finally, D tier is Veigar. I think Veigar is just such a shell of his former self. They actually nerfed new high scores, so now this Veigar line, and actually, they nerfed Manazane. So this Veigar line just seems really poor now. I just don't even see a reason why you'd ever click on it, so that's just why it's in the D tier. Anyways, that's gonna do it for my quick like 24-hour check on like the patch, and if you have any questions, please share them, and if you have any like feedback or interest or like not interest necessarily, but I mean, we're all interested in the game, but if you have any takes on the current patch, I'd love to hear it in the comments. I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say about the patch, because again, it's new, so like I could be completely wrong you know, like 12 hours from now. But I think, realistically speaking, I think my read so far has been good, and my games have been going decently well overall. And actually, right after I finish filming this video, I'm probably gonna start streaming again. So if you want to come by and hang out, like, feel free. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. Hope you guys found this helpful, and if you have any questions, yeah, let me know. I already said that. Anyways, that's gonna do it. Take care, guys. Happy collabing.